Hello everybody, this is Skye, your Tuesday commentator, and it's May 28th, and I spent the day moving back into my room out of the dorms, and setting up my new computer, which is what I'm recording this on now. And for those of you who posted your introductions after mine, I've seen them all. It's very nice to meet you, re-meet you. John and I realized that we actually knew each other from Tip, I believe, and it's really nice to see your faces and get to know you guys. So yeah, I'll go right into my first post. Let's see, there's a couple things I'd like to talk about today. First, the landmark victory for the Cub Scouts' approval of homosexuality in the junior ranks. Secondly, a belief I've found in some social blogging platforms of cultural guilt, specifically a blog called This Is White Culture. And thirdly, just a little tidbit, the idea of Irish immigration and Irish beliefs affecting what is stereotypically known as Southern gang violence. So yeah, that'll be what will be here today. Let's begin. Okay, Cub Scouts. Some 1,000 plus members voted with a acceptance rate of I think 61% on a new legislation that allows for tolerance and acceptance of homosexuality in some of the junior ranks of Cub Scouts. And while this isn't, a group-wide thing, some of the older members are left out of this deal, I think this is an incredible beginning for, an acceptance movement throughout Cub Scouts. I think it's very important, especially because it is Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts, it teaches children a lot of really great ideas about, family and about community and about, self-confidence, stuff like that. So it's really great that they're not promoting these ideas of acceptance because, in my opinion, if you want to create a society that is not geared towards hate, you begin with the children. And you teach the children from an early age not to hate and to accept and to challenge and to, become self-thinking beings. And so I think that's really important, even though this doesn't yet encompass the older ranks, that the children are being taught and are being brought into an environment that maybe, and this is early speculation because this is a brand new legislation, but it's a great head start, and I hope that we create an environment that is accepting. It's a really great part of the more accepting movements that are across the country. We've got more states joining and signing for marriage rights and for pay rights, and it's really great that we're working with kids too. And this affects me personally. I have a little brother in Cub Scouts, and he was really little when we moved to the South, and we've had trouble as a family trying to keep him from absorbing some of the stereotypical beliefs and some of the judgmental beliefs of his classmates and of his teachers and of people here. I don't think everyone is judgmental like that, but there are some kids and he doesn't pick it up. And so it's really nice as he's a member of Cub Scouts that he's going to be a part of that environment that is more inclusive, which is exactly what we need to start with the kids. So there's that, which is really great. Now, on the second topic is cultural guilt, as it were. This is something I've seen on a couple social blogging sites, and I found one called This Is White Culture through a post where the admin, or one of the admins, was saying that all white people, regardless of nationality, should be held responsible for American slave culture because they are white, and that even people who aren't of American descent or weren't alive at that time or were alive before that time and died before that time should be held responsible for slavery, and that because slavery existed, white people are lower as a people. And I think this is really interesting to blame all non-people of color for something that a specific group of non-people of color did. And I tried to talk to the moderators and was like, hey, what's the deal with this? And they wouldn't talk to me. But I went and dug through their blog, and I found stuff like the following. This is a post on their blog. We will not give white people advice about anything. We will not give white allies thanks for not being racist. We will not answer questions white people have, no matter how innocent they may seem. We will not publish submissions from white people. This is a safe place for people of color, and any white person who steps into it will be treated with the utmost hostility because we do not want you here. If you're white and you follow this blog in the hopes of educating yourself about white privilege, then good for you. But understand that that is not what this blog is for, so don't think we will help you in your education. It is not our job to make you not racist. And I thought it was really interesting because, yes, slavery was a very important event in American history, and, it's still an event that happens worldwide. But it seems a bit unreasonable to hold, current generations accountable for an act that happened years ago. Now, it does make sense to call people out on their racism today and, say that's not right, or to promote a society that helps one another and goes beyond those judgmental, stereotypical beliefs that people had during slavery and still have today. But it seems a bit counterintuitive to be racist in the event that you are being exclusionary towards a group of people because that group of people is exclusionary towards another group of people. It just seems counterintuitive. And it's weird, and I've found a couple of blogs that do things like that where they don't make sense, where they talk about racism or about veganism or about homophobia, but at the same time they're expressing their own stereotyping and their own exclusionary ideas. And a lot of times they won't realize it when you suggest to them, hey, did you consider the fact that maybe excluding white people from this blog is being racist? They shut down or become very defensive. And I think it's really interesting, about why this happens. And it makes sense to me to start a blog that says, here's racism today, and here's how we can stop it, calling people out right now about how they're being racist, and saying, hey, you could help out this way. But, it's different to exclude a group of people. And, I went through some of their stuff, and it's like, this is wrong. You don't have facts here, and you don't source your stuff, and, you make fun of it. No, that's not how you do things. And so it made me really upset. I guess I have gotten off on a tangent about it. This is more of a rant than a commentary, but I thought it was really interesting. Okay, so the last little bit is, it's not something that I've sourced, but it's something I heard from my stepfather, who is a professor of sociology, so I'm just going to mention it as sort of food for thought. And he talked about the idea of, Southern gang violence, that sort of blood feud kind of thing, as a concept from Irish and Scottish immigrants. Because in Irish and Scottish culture, previously, blood feuds and family feuds were a very big thing. And actually, I've heard about this in some history classes, and I'm sure you guys have seen commercials for that TV show, Hatfields and McCoys. The idea of, even Virginia, I want to say, settlers would go on these blood feuds and slaughter families. And so that's become an aspect of Southern gang violence, particularly in some African American communities. And I think it's really interesting that aspect of their groups may have come from Irish settlers. And I think I'm going to put a bit of research into this, and maybe my next commentary post could be about that, and I'll have some sources and some data for you guys. But I think that's some really interesting food for thought. Consider that. So, viewers, subscribers, fellow commentators, comment. I'd love to talk about what I've talked about today with you guys and start a conversation. That'd be really nice. And it's great to hear from you guys. And I will see you in the next one. So,